On what should have been the greatest day in Ayodhya's history, the entire city erupted in celebration. King Dasharatha had just announced that his eldest and most beloved son, Prince Rama, would be formally crowned the next day. When the news reached Queen Kaikeyi, Rama's stepmother, she was genuinely thrilled. She even rewarded the messenger who brought the announcement with a precious necklace. She had raised Rama alongside her own son, Bharata, and her maternal pride in the new crown prince was absolute. But one person in the palace viewed the city's joy with suspicion. Manthara, a hunchback who had been Kaikeyi's constant companion since childhood, saw the coronation through a lens of rivalry and self-interested calculation. Manthara's fear was specific. If Rama became king, his biological mother, Queen Kaushalya, would ascend to the position of Queen Mother. This shift would render Kaikeyi's influence secondary and Manthara's own status in the court completely obsolete. The origin of the conspiracy lay with a servant terrified of losing her own standing, who decided to use a mother's protective instinct to secure her own survival. The first pressure point was status. Manthara warned Kaikeyi that her days as the king's favorite were over, and she would soon be reduced to a servant for Queen Kaushalya. Kaikeyi dismissed this immediately, refusing to let her ego outweigh her love for Rama. Next, the focus shifted to Bharata. Manthara argued that as long as Rama sat on the throne, Bharata would remain a secondary prince, living his entire life in the shadow of his brother's line. Again, Kaikeyi resisted, trusting in the deep bond the two brothers shared. Finally, the argument struck the apex, the fear of survival. Manthara claimed that once the crown was secure, the political reality of power would force Rama to eliminate Rama as a potential rival. This targeted claim bypassed logic and reached the deepest level of maternal instinct. It turned a mother's drive to protect her child into a mechanism for the family's destruction. Manthara had successfully corrupted Kaikeyi's genuine love, transforming a woman who celebrated Rama's success into the primary instrument of his exile. To achieve this exile, Kaikeyi utilized a promise from the past. Years prior, she had saved King Dasharatha's life on a chaotic battlefield, acting as his charioteer when he was gravely wounded. In gratitude, the king had granted her 2 boons, any 2 wishes, to be claimed whenever she chose. In the ancient Vedic world, a king's promise witnessed by the cosmos carried the weight of dharma itself. Breaking such an oath was not a personal failure. It was a violation of the universal order that would strip a ruler of his moral right to lead. Armed with these boons, Kaikeyi retreated to the Kopa Bhavan, the chamber of anger. She cast off her royal jewelry and let down her hair, presenting a display of absolute grief. When Dasharatha arrived, she demanded her price. Bharata must be crowned, and Rama must be exiled to the forest for 14 years. Dasharatha was devastated. He fainted, pleaded, and prostrated himself before her, yet he found himself incapable of breaking the cosmic oath. Rama accepted the news with an absolute absence of ego, viewing the sacrifice as the only way to protect his father's honor. The kingdom's collapse was not caused by a weak king, but by a man who was helplessly bound by his own dharmic integrity. The consequences were immediate. Rama departed for the forest in the garments of a hermit. 6 days later, King Dasharatha died of a broken heart, his final moments consumed by the absence of his son. This was the wreckage Prince Bharata returned to. He arrived in Ayodhya to find his father dead, his brother exiled, and a throne being offered to him through a betrayal he never authorized. Rage swept through the palace. Bharata's brother, Shatrughna, seized Manthara, ready to strike her down for the catastrophe she had engineered. Even in his own grief, Bharata intervened. He restrained his brother, refusing to let the family's tragedy lead to the unrighteous harm of a servant. Bharata then confronted Kaikeyi. He told her he could no longer call her mother, declaring that her actions had destroyed the very foundation of care and truth that the title required. He explicitly refused the stolen throne. He declared that the crown belonged to Rama alone, and he announced an immediate march into the forest to restore his brother to his rightful place. Bharata's character was defined by this refusal. He demonstrated that true moral clarity is the absolute rejection of power obtained through betrayal, even when that power is offered by one's own family.